The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Zixnarian fleet. What should have been a routine journey had turned into a nightmare. Commander Zixnera stood on the bridge of the flagship, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly as she processed the dire situation. "Status report," she demanded, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. A young officer, his skin a pale blue, rushed to her side. "Commander, all ships report critical engine failure. We're drifting towards an unknown anomaly in Sector 7. Zixnera's antenna twitched, a sign of her growing concern. The fleet of 50 ships, carrying over 100,000 Zixnarians, was now helpless in the face of an unseen danger. They had been on a mission of exploration, pushing the boundaries of known space. Now, they were lost and in peril. "How long until we reach the anomaly?" she asked, her gaze fixed on the swirling mass of energy visible on the main view screen. "At our current drift speed, approximately 72 hours, the officer replied, his voice quivering. Zixnera nodded, her mind racing through possible solutions. Their advanced technology, usually so reliable, had failed them completely. The cause was unknown, but the effects were catastrophic. Not a single engine across the entire fleet would power up. She turned to her communications officer. "Send out a distress signal on all frequencies. We need help, and we need it fast." The officer's fingers danced across the console, sending out a plea for assistance into the cosmic void. But Zixnera knew the chances of anyone hearing them, let alone reaching them in time, were slim. They were far from any known civilizations, in a part of the galaxy that was largely unexplored. As the hours ticked by, the crew worked tirelessly to find a solution. Engineers crawled through access tunnels, scientists pored over data, and tacticians planned for every possible scenario. But as the anomaly grew larger in their view screens, hope began to fade. Zixnera refused to give up. She had led her people on this mission, promising them glory and discovery. She couldn't let it end in tragedy. In a moment of desperation, she made a decision that would change the course of history. "Prepare the quantum transmitter," she ordered. Her second-in-command, Krax, looked at her in shock. "But, Commander, that's experimental technology. We've never tested it at this range." "We have no choice," Zixnera replied firmly. "If it works, our signal could reach further than we ever thought possible. It's our only hope." The quantum transmitter was a device that, in theory, could send a signal instantly across vast distances of space, but it was unstable and unpredictable. Using it was a risk, but one Zixnera was willing to take. As the device powered up, the entire ship hummed with energy. Zixnera stepped forward, ready to record her message. She took a deep breath, knowing that these could be her final words. "This is Commander Zixnera of the Zixnarian Exploration Fleet. We are stranded in an unknown region of space, our engines dead, drifting towards a dangerous anomaly. To anyone who receives this message, we plead for your help. Our coordinates are attached to this transmission. Please, if you have the means, come to our aid. We have little time left." With a nod, she signaled for the message to be sent. The quantum transmitter pulsed, and for a brief moment, the ship's lights flickered. Then, silence. "Did it work?" Krax asked, his voice barely a whisper. Zixnera stared at the starfield on the view screen. "We can only hope," she replied. Little did they know, their desperate plea was hurtling through subspace, about to reach a planet they had never heard of, inhabited by a species they had never encountered. Millions of light years away, on a blue-green planet called Earth, a young radio astronomer named Sarah Chen sat bolt upright in her chair. Her eyes widened as she stared at her computer screen, hardly believing what she was seeing. "Holy shit," she muttered, reaching for her phone with shaking hands. "I need to call the director. Now." As Sarah dialed the number, her heart racing, she knew that everything was about to change. Humanity had just received its first extraterrestrial distress call, and the fate of an entire alien civilization now rested in their hands. The stage was set for humanity to prove itself on a cosmic scale. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin. Sarah Chen's hands shook as she dialed the number of Dr. James Morrison, the director of the SETI Institute. It was 3 a.m., but this couldn't wait. The phone rang several times before a groggy voice answered. "Dr. Morrison, it's Sarah Chen. I'm sorry to wake you, but I think I just received a message from aliens." There was a pause, then, "Sarah, if this is a joke." "It's not, sir. I swear. You need to come to the lab right now." Within an hour, the quiet research facility had turned into a hive of activity. Scientists from various departments huddled around Sarah's computer, watching as she played the message again and again. Dr. Morrison's eyes were wide with disbelief. "It's real," he whispered. "We need to inform the government immediately." As dawn broke over the United States, an emergency meeting was called at the White House. President Laura Hawkins sat at the head of the table, surrounded by her top advisors, military leaders, and scientific experts. "Let me get this straight," the president said, her voice calm but her eyes betraying her shock. "An alien fleet is stranded in space, and they're asking for our help." Dr. Morrison nodded. "Yes, Madam President. We've verified the signal multiple times. It's genuine." The room erupted into a flurry of voices, each person trying to be heard over the others. Some argued for caution, warning of potential threats. Others saw this as humanity's chance to prove itself on a galactic stage. President Hawkins raised her hand, silencing the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing a moment that will define our species. These aliens need our help, and I believe we have a moral obligation to try." She turned to General Amanda Stone, the head of the newly formed Space Force. "General, what are our options?" General Stone stood, her posture rigid. "Madam President, we have been developing advanced spacecraft for deep space exploration. They're not fully tested, but they're our best shot at reaching the alien fleet in time." "How many ships do we have?" the president asked. "3, Madam President, but they're designed for a crew of only 5 each." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. 15 people to save an entire alien fleet. The odds seemed impossible. But then a voice spoke up. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned astrophysicist. "Madam President, if I may, this is bigger than just America. We should reach out to other nations, pool our resources, our best minds. This is humanity's moment, not just one country's." President Hawkins nodded slowly, a smile forming on her face. "Dr. Tanaka, I couldn't agree more. Let's make some calls." Over the next 48 hours, the world witnessed an unprecedented level of international cooperation. Countries that had been enemies for decades now worked side by side. The United States, Russia, China, India, and the European Space Agency all contributed their top scientists, engineers, and astronauts. In launch facilities across the globe, 3 ships were being prepared. They were christened Unity, Hope, and Voyager, symbolizing the spirit of this mission. The crew selection process was intense. Out of thousands of volunteers, 15 were chosen. They represented the best of humanity: brilliant minds, steady hands, and courageous hearts. As the ships were being fueled, Dr. Sarah Chen found herself standing on the launch pad, staring up at the gleaming hull of Unity. She still couldn't believe she had been chosen as one of the science officers. "Nervous?" a voice asked beside her. It was Captain Michael Wong, the mission commander. Sarah nodded. "A little. We're about to make history, or die trying." Michael placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We're going to do this, Sarah. We're going to save them." As the sun set on the 3rd day since receiving the alien message, the world held its breath. In mission control centers around the globe, technicians ran final checks. On televisions and smartphones, billions of people watched and waited. President Hawkins stood before a podium, cameras flashing. "Today," she began, her voice strong and clear, "we take our place among the stars. not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as saviors. We go to help those in need, to extend the hand of friendship across the cosmic void. May this be the beginning of a new era for all of us. As cheers erupted around the world, 3 rockets ignited, piercing the night sky with brilliant flame. Unity, Hope, and Voyager rose on pillars of fire, carrying with them the dreams and aspirations of an entire planet. Humanity's greatest adventure had begun. The race to save the alien fleet was on. The vastness of space stretched out before the 3 human ships as they pushed deeper into the unknown. Unity, Hope, and Voyager flew in tight formation, their engines humming with power that humanity had never before harnessed. Inside Unity, Captain Michael Wong sat in the command chair, his eyes fixed on the holographic display before him. The ship's AI had plotted their course based on the coordinates from the alien distress signal, but they were heading into uncharted territory. "Status report," Michael called out, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Dr. Sarah Chen looked up from her console. "All systems are functioning at optimal levels, Captain. The new warp drive is performing even better than we hoped." Michael nodded, allowing himself a small smile. The warp drive was humanity's newest achievement, developed in secret over the past decade. This mission was its first real test, and so far it was passing with flying colors. On the ship Hope, tensions were running high. Despite rigorous training, the reality of their situation was starting to sink in. They were millions of light years from Earth, heading towards an unknown alien species. Lieutenant Akira Tanaka, the ship's pilot, felt a bead of sweat roll down his forehead as he made a minor course correction. "I never thought I'd be the first human to fly this far into space," he muttered. Beside him, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the xenobiologist, chuckled. "First time for everything, Akira. Just think, in a few days, we might be making first contact with an alien species." Their banter was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Red lights flashed across the control panel. "What's happening?" Elena asked, her excitement quickly turning to concern. Akira's fingers flew over the controls, some kind of spatial anomaly directly ahead. It wasn't on any of our scans. On Voyager, similar alarms were blaring. Commander Zara Okoro barked orders as her crew scrambled to analyze the phenomenon. "It's some kind of subspace rift," reported Dr. Raj Patel, the ship's physicist. "Our sensors can't penetrate it. We have no idea what's on the other side." Zara's mind raced. They couldn't afford delays, not with an alien fleet in danger. But rushing blindly into an unknown phenomenon could be disastrous. She opened a channel to the other ships. "Unity, Hope, this is Voyager. Are you seeing this?" "Affirmative, Voyager," came Michael's voice. "We're analyzing it now. Suggestions?" For a moment, there was silence as each crew member wrestled with the problem. Then a voice spoke up. It was Sarah Chen on Unity. "Captain, I have an idea. It's risky, but it might work." Michael leaned forward. "Go ahead, Dr. Chen." Sarah took a deep breath. "If we reconfigure our warp fields to match the frequency of the rift, we might be able to pass through safely. It's like surfing a wave." There was a pause as the implications sank in. It was a daring plan, one that could either save them precious time or end in disaster. Michael exchanged glances with his crew, then with the faces of Zara and Akira on the view screen. He saw determination in their eyes, mixed with a hint of fear, but mostly he saw trust. "All right, Dr. Chen," he said finally. "Let's do it. All ships, reconfigure your warp fields according to Unity's specifications." The next few minutes were a flurry of activity as the crews worked to implement Sarah's plan. As they approached the rift, the ships began to shake. "Entering the rift in 3, 2, 1. Akira's voice counted down. There was a flash of blinding light, and for a moment, it felt like the universe itself was being torn apart. The crews held on tight, their knuckles white as they gripped their stations. Then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The ships emerged on the other side, systems quickly stabilizing. "Status report," Michael called out, his heart pounding. One by one, the ships reported in. Against all odds, they had made it through unscathed. And more than that, "Captain," Sarah's voice was filled with awe. "According to our calculations, that rift was some kind of spatial shortcut. We just cut our journey time in half." A cheer went up across all three ships. It was a small victory, but an important one. They were one step closer to their goal, and they had overcome their first major obstacle together. As the excitement died down, Michael looked out at the star field before them. Somewhere out there, an alien fleet was waiting for their help. And now, thanks to human ingenuity and courage, they had a real chance of reaching them in time. "Well done, everyone," he said, his voice filled with pride. "Let's keep moving. We've got a fleet to save." The three ships surged forward, carrying with them the hopes of two civilizations. The journey was far from over, but humanity had proven that they were equal to the challenge. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The three human ships, Unity, Hope, and Voyager, dropped out of warp speed in perfect formation. Before them, floating in the vast emptiness of space, was the stranded Zixnarian fleet. 50 massive ships, each easily dwarfing the human vessels, hung motionless against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. Captain Michael Wong's voice was filled with awe as he spoke. "My God, it's really them." On the bridge of Unity, the crew stared in wonder at the alien ships. Their design was unlike anything humans had ever seen, with sweeping organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Dr. Sarah Chen's fingers flew over her console. "I'm detecting multiple life signs, Captain. Thousands of them. But their power readings are critically low." Michael nodded grimly. "All right, people. This is what we came for. Let's make first contact." On the Zixnarian flagship, Commander Zixnara's antenna twitched in surprise as her sensors detected the approaching vessels. "Impossible," she muttered. "How did they find us so quickly?" Her second-in-command, Krax, peered at the readouts. "Commander, these ships, they're not like anything in our database. Could they be a new species?" Zixnara's four eyes blinked rapidly as she processed this information. A new, unknown species had answered their distress call. The implications were staggering. "Open a channel," she ordered. Back on Unity, Michael took a deep breath. "This is Captain Michael Wong of the Earth ship Unity. We've come in response to your distress call. Do you require assistance?" For a moment, there was only static. Then, a voice replied, speaking in perfect English. "This is Commander Zixnara of the Zixnarian Exploration Fleet. Your arrival is unexpected. How did you translate our language so quickly?" Michael glanced at Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the xenolinguist on Hope, who had patched into the communication. She gave him a thumbs up and a proud smile. "We have very skilled linguists, Commander," Michael replied, "and advanced translation software. We're here to help. Can you tell us your situation?" As Zixnara explained their predicament, the engine failures, the looming spatial anomaly, the human crews listened intently. Dr. Raj Patil on Voyager was already running simulations, trying to understand the nature of the anomaly that threatened the alien fleet. "We can start by sending over engineering teams," Michael offered. "Maybe we can help get your engines back online." There was a pause, and the humans could almost feel the hesitation from the alien commander. "Your offer is generous," Zixnara said slowly, "but our technology is very different from yours. I'm not sure how much help you could provide." Michael couldn't help but smile. "Commander, with all due respect, we just traveled halfway across the galaxy to reach you. I think you'll find that humans are very good at figuring things out." He nodded to Sarah, who pulled up a holographic display of some of Earth's technological achievements. Images of space stations, advanced AI systems, and clean energy solutions. "We may be new to interstellar travel," Michael continued, "but we've come a long way in a short time. Give us a chance. What do you have to lose? On the Zixnarian ship, Zixnera studied the images with growing amazement. These humans, as they called themselves, were far more advanced than she had initially thought. "Very well, Captain Wong," she said finally. "We accept your help. But I must warn you, the anomaly is growing stronger. We don't have much time." Michael's expression turned serious. "Understood, Commander. We'll begin immediately. Unity out." As the communication ended, Michael turned to his crew. "All right, people, this is it. We got an alien fleet to save and not much time to do it. Dr. Chen, coordinate with Hope and Voyager. I want our best engineers ready to teleport over in 10 minutes. Sarah nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "Yes, sir." As the crews of all three ships sprang into action, there was a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. This was more than just a rescue mission now. It was humanity's chance to prove itself on a galactic stage. Michael looked out at the massive alien ships, a mix of determination and wonder on his face. They had made first contact, but the real challenge was just beginning. Could humanity's ingenuity and determination be enough to save an advanced alien civilization? As the first team of human engineers prepared to teleport onto the alien flagship, Michael knew one thing for certain. They were about to find out. The hum of the teleporter faded as the first team of human engineers materialized on the bridge of the Zixnarian flagship. Led by Dr. Raj Patel from Voyager, the team looked around in awe at the alien technology surrounding them. Commander Zixnera stepped forward, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly as she took in the sight of the humans. "Welcome aboard," she said, her translator converting her clicks and whistles into English. "I must admit, I'm still amazed by your teleportation technology." Raj smiled, adjusting his tool belt. "Thank you, Commander. We're excited to help. Can you show us to your engine room?" As the Zixnarians led the humans through the ship, both species couldn't help but study each other curiously. The aliens' blue skin and antennae were a stark contrast to the humans' appearance, but there was a shared look of determination in all their eyes. In the engine room, the human engineers got to work immediately. They split into teams, each tackling a different aspect of the alien technology. Dr. Elena Rodriguez from Hope worked on deciphering the Zixnarian computer systems, while Lieutenant Akira Tanaka from the same ship focused on the propulsion mechanics. Hours passed as the humans worked tirelessly, their hands flying over alien consoles and unfamiliar machinery. The Zixnarians watched in amazement as the humans quickly adapted to their technology, asking insightful questions and proposing innovative solutions. Back on Unity, Captain Michael Wong coordinated the efforts of all 3 human ships. "Status report," he called out to the team on the alien flagship. Raj's voice came through the comm system, tinged with excitement. "Captain, we're making progress. The Zixnarian technology is incredibly advanced, but we're starting to understand it. We've managed to restore power to some of the auxiliary systems." Michael nodded, a small smile on his face. "Good work. Keep at it. We're running scans on that spatial anomaly. It's growing faster than we anticipated. We need those engines online ASAP." As if on cue, the ship suddenly shuddered. Alarms blared across both human and Zixnarian vessels. "Report." Michael and Zixnera called out simultaneously. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice was tense as she responded. "The anomaly is expanding rapidly. At this rate, it'll reach the fleet in less than 2 hours." In the Zixnarian engine room, Raj and his team redoubled their efforts. Sweat beaded on their foreheads as they raced against time. "We need more power," Elena shouted, her fingers flying over an alien keyboard. "The main reactor is still offline." Akira looked up from the tangle of wires he was working on. "I think I've got it. If we reroute the power from the life support systems—" "No," a Zixnarian engineer interrupted. "That would leave us without air in less than an hour." For a moment, silence fell over the engine room. The situation seemed impossible. Then Raj's eyes lit up. "What if?" he began slowly, What if we used our ships to jumpstart yours? The Zixnarians looked at him in confusion. Raj quickly explained his idea, his words tumbling out in excitement. Our warp cores operate on a different principle than your engines. If we can modify the output to match your systems, we might be able to provide enough power to get your main reactor online. Commander Zixnara's antenna twitched as she considered the proposal. It's risky, she said. If it goes wrong, we could lose both fleets. Raj nodded solemnly. Yes, but if we do nothing, we'll definitely lose yours. There was a moment of tense silence. Then, Zixnara straightened, her decision made. Do it. The next hour was a flurry of activity. Human and Zixnarian engineers worked side by side, modifying systems and creating interfaces between the two vastly different technologies. On Unity, Hope, and Voyager, the crews prepared their ships for the risky power transfer. As the spatial anomaly loomed ever closer, Captain Wong's voice rang out across all ships, human and alien alike. All ships, stand by for power transfer. This is going to take everything we've got. Let's show the universe what humanity and Zixnarians can do when we work together. With a collective breath, human and alien alike initiated the power transfer. Energy surged between the ships, lighting up the darkness of space. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed like it might not be enough. Then, with a mighty roar, the Zixnarian main reactor came to life. Cheers erupted across both fleets, but their celebration was short-lived. They had won the first battle, but the war wasn't over yet. The anomaly was still approaching, and now they had to figure out how to escape its pull. As both species turned to face this new challenge, one thing was clear. Together, they stood a fighting chance. The combined fleet of human and Zixnarian ships hung in space, their engines humming with renewed power. But the celebration was short-lived as the looming spatial anomaly continued to grow, its swirling energy casting an eerie glow across the ships. On the bridge of Unity, Captain Michael Wong studied the holographic display with a frown. Dr. Chen, what are we looking at here? Sarah's fingers danced over her console as she analyzed the data. It's like nothing we've ever seen, Captain. The anomaly is generating massive gravitational waves. Even with the Zixnarian engines back online, we don't have enough power to break free. Commander Zixnara's voice crackled over the comm system. Captain Wong is correct. Our scientists are reporting the same findings. We're trapped. A heavy silence fell over both fleets. They had come so far, overcome so much, only to be faced with a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. Suddenly, Dr. Raj Patel's voice cut through the silence. Wait a minute. What if we don't try to escape it? What if we use it instead? All eyes turned to the scientist. Michael leaned forward, intrigued. Go on, Dr. Patel. Raj's words tumbled out in excitement. The anomaly is generating massive energy. If we could harness that energy, combine it with our warp technology, and the Zixnarians' advanced propulsion systems, we might be able to create a sort of slingshot effect. A slingshot? Zixnara asked, her antenna twitching in confusion. Yes, Raj continued. We ride the gravitational waves to the edge of the anomaly, then use the combined power of all our ships to punch through. The energy release could catapult us millions of light years in seconds. The idea was met with a mix of excitement and skepticism. It was incredibly risky. If they miscalculated, they could be torn apart or lost forever in unknown space. Lieutenant Akira Tanaka spoke up from his position at Unity's helm. The precision required for such a maneuver, it's almost impossible. We'd need to link all our ships, human and Zixnarian, into a single control system. Can we do that? Michael asked, looking around at his crew. Dr. Elena Rodriguez nodded slowly. Theoretically, yes. We've already interfaced our systems to jumpstart their engines. With the Zixnarians' help, we could expand that link. Michael turned to the comm screen. Commander Zixnara, what do you think? This is your fleet we're risking. The alien commander was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was filled with determination. "We are already at risk, Captain Wong. Your people have shown great courage and ingenuity. If you believe this plan can work, we will follow your lead." With the decision made, both fleets sprang into action. Human and Sixnarian engineers worked feverishly to link their ship systems. Scientists on both sides collaborated to calculate the precise trajectory and timing needed for the risky maneuver. As the anomaly grew ever larger, filling their view screens, the final preparations were made. The 53 ships, 3 human and 50 Sixnarian, moved into a tight formation. Captain Wong's voice rang out across the entire fleet. "All ships, this is it. We have one shot at this. If we succeed, we make history. If we fail, it's been an honor serving with all of you, human and Sixnarian alike." Commander Sixnera added her own words. "Whatever happens, know that your bravery and kindness will be remembered by our people for generations to come." With a deep breath, Michael gave the command. "All ships, engage." The fleet surged forward as one, plunging towards the heart of the anomaly. The ships shuddered as gravitational forces threatened to tear them apart. Warning alarms blared across every vessel. On Unity's bridge, Akira's hands flew over his console, making split-second adjustments. "We're approaching the critical point. All power to engines and shields," Michael ordered. The combined fleet reached the edge of the anomaly. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed they would be swallowed by its swirling energy. Then, with a final, mighty burst of power, they punched through. There was a blinding flash of light, a sensation of unimaginable speed. And then, stillness. As the light faded and sensors came back online, a collective gasp went up across both fleets. The anomaly was gone. In its place was an unfamiliar starfield. Sarah's voice was filled with awe as she reported, "Captain, according to our readings, we've traveled over 100 million light-years in a matter of seconds." Cheers erupted across every ship. Human and Sixnarian alike celebrated their incredible victory. Against all odds, they had done the impossible. As the excitement settled, Michael opened a channel to the Sixnarian flagship. "Commander Sixnera, are you still with us?" The alien commander's face appeared on screen, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what Michael was learning to recognize as a smile. "We are, Captain Wong. Thanks to you and your remarkable species, we are safe, and we have made the discovery of a lifetime." Michael nodded, a proud smile on his face. "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, Commander." As both fleets prepared for the journey home, one thing was clear: the universe would never be the same again. The journey back to Earth was filled with excitement and anticipation. The human ships, Unity, Hope, and Voyager, led the way, guiding the massive Sixnarian fleet through the stars. As they approached the outskirts of the solar system, a sense of awe fell over both species. Captain Michael Wong stood on the bridge of Unity, watching as the blue marble of Earth came into view. "Home," he said softly, a smile on his face. Beside him, Commander Sixnera's antenna twitched with curiosity. "It's beautiful," she said, her translator conveying the wonder in her voice. "So much water." As the combined fleet entered Earth's orbit, they were met with a hero's welcome. Space stations and satellites lit up with welcome messages, and the airways were filled with cheers and congratulations from every nation on the planet. President Laura Hawkins' voice came through on a global broadcast. "Today we welcome not only our brave astronauts home, but also our new friends from the stars. The Sixnarians came to us in their hour of need, and humanity answered the call. Together, we have written a new chapter in the history of both our species." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. As the Sixnarian ships took up orbit around Earth, delegations from both species met to discuss the future. The United Nations convened a special session to welcome the alien ambassadors, with Commander Sixnera addressing the General Assembly. "People of Earth," she began, her words translated into hundreds of languages. "We came to you as strangers in distress, and you showed us kindness and bravery beyond measure. The Zixnarian people will forever be in your debt. But more than that, we see in humanity a kindred spirit, curious, inventive, and compassionate. We look forward to a future of friendship and cooperation between our peoples." The speech was met with thunderous applause. In the days that followed, scientists, engineers, and diplomats from both species began to work together, sharing knowledge and technology. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself leading a joint team of human and Zixnarian researchers, studying the data from their incredible journey through the spatial anomaly. "The implications are staggering," she explained to a group of reporters. "The slingshot effect we experienced could revolutionize space travel. We're talking about the possibility of exploring distant galaxies in a matter of days or weeks, not lifetimes." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Akira Tanaka worked with Zixnarian pilots to integrate their advanced propulsion technology with human spacecraft designs. "It's like learning to fly all over again," he said with a grin. "But the possibilities are endless. We're designing ships that could reach the edge of our galaxy in months, not years." As the cooperation continued, both species found they had much to learn from each other. The Zixnarians were impressed by humanity's adaptability and creative problem-solving, while humans marveled at the aliens' advanced technology and deep understanding of the universe. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led efforts to create a comprehensive Zixnarian human dictionary and cultural guide. "Communication is key," she explained. "We're not just sharing technology. We're sharing ideas, art, music, entire ways of looking at the universe." 6 months after the rescue mission, a new ship was unveiled. Named Unity Star, it was the first vessel designed and built through human and Zixnarian collaboration. As it prepared for its maiden voyage, Captain Michael Wong found himself once again in command, but this time with a mixed crew of humans and Zixnarians. Standing on the bridge of Unity Star, Michael looked around at his diverse crew. Commander Zixnara stood beside him as his second-in-command, while Dr. Raj Patel manned the science station, working in tandem with a Zixnarian engineer. "Captain," Sarah's excited voice came from the communication station. "We're receiving messages from all over Earth and the Zixnarian fleet. Everyone's wishing us luck." Michael nodded, a proud smile on his face. "Well then, let's not keep them waiting. Commander Zixnara, would you like to give the order?" The alien commander's 4 eyes blinked in what Michael now recognized as a smile. "It would be my honor, Captain." She turned to the helm, where Akira sat ready. "Lieutenant Tanaka, take us out." As Unity Star gracefully lifted off, carrying the hopes and dreams of 2 species, Michael couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder. What had started as a desperate rescue mission had blossomed into something far greater, the dawn of a new era of intergalactic cooperation and exploration. The stars beckoned, and this time, humanity wouldn't be facing the unknown alone. Together with their new Zixnarian friends, they were ready to embrace the infinite possibilities of the cosmos. As Unity Star disappeared into the depths of space, one thing was certain: the greatest adventure was just beginning.